What's that I hear you say? You have the flow? Good, then let's go. Cheesy puns and jokes aside, let's go ahead now and we'll finish off the final stage of this, what seems to be, in some ways, a bit of a rat's nest looking type of hair mesh. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. So on Ponytail base 1, we haven't even renamed this. I say we, I mean me. Ponytail A hair. Now we're going to duplicate this and we're going to call this Ponytail B hair. There we go. Okay, but of course we will hide the A hair subtool just so we can't select it. And let's go over to what we've been doing so far, the curve flat snap brush. And what's our size? We can go, let's try a 6. And again, we're going to be even crazier with this. So let's create a few at the same time. And we can be quite haphazard about this. It's fine. Okay, I like that. Let's create one that sort of fans out there. Yes, why not? Yes, yes. There we go. Yes, yes. Oh, look at that one. Actually, I feel like when I pull on the end here, I almost always straighten it out too much. So that's a bad habit for me to keep doing. Trying to create wild hair cards and I end up straightening them out, which is kind of the antithesis to what I'm supposed to be doing. There we go. Let's do another one. Yes. Look at these snazzy hair cards. Oh, so snazzy, it isn't even in the origin point. Ah, it's a shame. Ah, don't do that. Gonna have to move it again, aren't I? Well, actually, I'll leave it to the end. I'll leave it to the end. What are you? Oh, I mean, that could work. It's a little bit long, but it could certainly work with the added length. You could do quite a few curls there. So this way, and then that way. That's quite nice. Okay, let's do one here. Again, I ruined the curvature of that. Let's put it in the origin point properly. Even if it bundles out like that, that's fine. Because that's kind of cool, even by itself. Trying to get it to keep itself. Seemingly struggling though. Yeah, that's okay. It can be wavy like that, why not? You can either have short strands, of course. That's a shame. Okay, every time I try to move the origin point, it does tend to lose its curviness a bit. Okay. Don't get caught on another hair strands. There we go. Ah, it got caught on another hair strand. That's okay, like that. Actually, the head. Now the head is in the way. What does that say about that? Oh, look at those pearly whites. That's not disturbing at all. Right. Okay. Oh. Bit crazy, that one. Okay. You might notice that when I create these bee hair strands, I'm just trying to find a drawable surface. And when I do, I kind of move it to where I then want it to be. Because sometimes not all these strands here are completely drawable on. So yes, I've just created that as a new word. Drawable on is indeed a word that you will find in the dictionary. Drawable on. Yes. Yes, indeed. That's a good word. So this can be quite a... It's quite a snaky one, this one. Yeah. Oh. Yes. How about that? Why not? Anything goes at this point. I have the flow. He-Man has the power. I have the flow. That's how it works. I don't defend Castle Grayskull. I make ZBrush tutorials. That's what I do. Similar to He-Man. You could even say that my job's more important than He-Man, because He-Man just flies his fingers of sword around every day. I'm actually here showing you guys how to make hair. I mean, what does He-Man show except his muscles every day? And what good is that? What good is that? Right, I'll stop bashing on He-Man now. Okay, let's carry on. Let's add a bit of curvature into his. So again, I'm not really too concerned that the splines aren't quite going, maybe not yet going into the hairband there, because I am just going to wholesale completely move them once I've done all of them. Okay. Okay, I think I've done quite a lot of random strands there. It's quite nice. Let's do a long one. Oh, that's a very, very long one. Okay, let's keep with it, and we'll just cut it off, shall we? Because I do like the overall. Oh, it's curling around that. That's not a good sign. Okay, let's move it out. Oh, it's getting caught. Okay, there we go. I'll cut that off later. There's no way I want a strand that long, but that's okay. Let's just create a strand that's a bit larger than life for the time being, and we'll just cut it down to size later on. Oops, all for the sake of a bit of variety. Oh, it was going so well, and then it just kind of gets crumpled a bit there. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay. Right, there we go. I say we're done. So what we can do now is let's mask off these areas that we don't want. And we'll cut them short. Okay, let's go over to our poly groups. Group masked. And then we'll just delete them. Okay. And then now what we'll do is... Oh, you know what? I forgot something, didn't I? I didn't group all the A hair cards together. Sorry guys, I'm sure a lot of you, whilst you're following along at home, are screaming at me because I've forgotten a critical step. I do apologise, but I'll do it now. So, let's take the B hair strands, we'll mask all of them. Ah, the other thing as well, they were all masked before as well, but I was too busy with wanting to cut those long ones down. Never mind, the B hair strands are very easily identifiable, so we can quite easily isolate them and just mask each one. Though you'll notice, and no doubtly here, I'm doing this with a mouse because my accuracy is far better with one than a pen. Do you want to know a little strange fact? That ever since I left high school, actually, I don't really use pens and pencils that much. Really don't. All the stuff's digital now, so if any kind of pen, I use digital styluses more than anything. Funny, huh? I wonder if are you guys the same way? Let me know in the comments down below, but it's not a YouTube video, so I can't say that. Okay, so with the B hair splines separated, we can select these guys now, and we can delete the rest. There we go, there's our B hair splines there. So with these guys selected now, let's do a little bit of tidying up. We will... Oh, let's bring our A hair cards back just so we can see everything in full view, and we'll pinch them so that they can tuck more readily into the ponytail there. There we go, and just kind of centralize them a little bit. There we go. Okay. Right, let's get rid of that horrible pearly white view. There we go. Okay, so there we go guys, there's the head mesh and the hair. Final few adjustments I might just make is the same way I sort of gave some B-spline hair to some of the front strands here. I think I would be remiss if I didn't do the same for around the ear here. So I'm just going to take a little bit more time now and just add some small B hair splines. Sorry, just here guys. So just some around the ear, just because I sort of know but this area here can look a little bit bland sometimes. Every other time I've made characters, it can look a little bit empty. So I'm just going to do a few straggly strands like this, that's all. Okay, just some small ones like that, nothing too major. Oops. There we go. Same on this side as well. Don't be dynamic. Why is it? Don't be dynamic. Just, I don't understand that. Why it keeps disappearing. Ah, nope, still disappearing. Okay, never mind. I'm nearly done anyhow. Just a few little strands like so. Okay. There we go. Just to help with the ears there. Okay. Right. No, not the smooth brush. Standard brush. So, what do you think, guys? I think, overall, that's a pretty good result. I really do genuinely think that. Pretty good result. I'm quite happy with that. We can even do a little BPR test to see some shadows. Oh, look at all the shadows. Alright, very cool. Okay, so just as a little bit of warning here, don't worry too much if this clump here still isn't, you know, as you'd want it to be. If it's still a little bit messy and there's still some clipping here and there. Like I said, there's bound to be some clipping going on. But you can always easily use soft select in Maya and fix that pretty quick. So don't worry too much about it if you still got a bit of a mess around the ponytail there. Okay, just one thing I would say is if the hair is a bit too bushy for you now, you can go ahead and take the time now to change all that. Okay, so for example, it's a bit straight for me up here, so I'm going to try and just curl it a bit more, and I'm going to switch between all the layers to just sort of help curl this hair out a little bit more, because it looks a little bit, I mean, that already is essentially what I wanted to do there. It's just make it a bit more curly rather than straight down. Okay, because if you look at the preview, it kind of looks like a little like a witch's brush almost. Okay, so maybe with that in mind, I might sort of a bit more uniform this area here a little bit more, make this a bit more sort of uniformed, and that goes for the base as well. There we go, and that way it looks a little bit more uniform. Now the other thing is, actually I might reverse that decision. Do you know why? Because it looks bad from this, well, I was to say bad, but it looks strange from this angle, but we're dealing with solids here. But actually when we come to do the hair cards, let's not forget that they won't be solid. They'll actually be very, very thin, so the kind of more volume you've got, probably the better, although that's not exactly that straightforward. But it's a hard and fast rule that doesn't always apply, but generally it does sort of apply. Okay, so what I think we should do now is we should essentially, once we've got this all done now, we actually don't really need the head here. Okay, so what we could do is we will just select the head and we'll delete it. Okay, we don't need it because we've got our real head mesh here, the one with all the subdivision levels on. So when we crank this up to 6, which is our highest subdivision level, there we go. Okay, so there's our character there with the highest poly face. Okay, so that's what she'll roughly look like. Okay, fabulous. Okay, so all that needs doing now is merging the head with the rest of the body.